This is Average Sports.
By your average guys.
Eric.
And Ty. That would be so bad.
Yeah. This is Average Sports.
Your average sports.
Average Sports.
Thanks for tuning into another episode of
You're listening to Average Sports with your average guys.
Average Sports, average guys, Eric and Ty. My favorite episode. Here we go. Welcome to another episode of Average Sports by your average guys. If you have tuned in any time over the past 4 years, thank you very much for listening. But Absolutely. This is my favorite episode. It is the fantasy football episode. So we do one of these a year. Mine is this one. This is my favorite. Ty's is the March Madness. And we are ready to go. So before we get into it, we got two things that we really need to cover here very, very quickly. I'm going to get the sad one out of the way. Legendary Hall of Fame football coach for Florida State, Bobby Bowden, has passed away. He was in critical condition over the last week. He was fighting a very long-time illness, but he did unfortunately pass away at the age of 91. His record was 377, 129, and 4. And that is just an outstandingly impressive record. So, I grew up not enjoying Bobby Bowden. I grew up hating Bobby Bowden, as a matter of fact, because I hated Florida State. I was a big Canes fan, but unfortunately, he passed away and died. So, condolences to him and his family. And then we get into the second piece here. We're going to do the top 5 of the medal count just because the Olympics is wrapping up. We have Japan coming in at 5th place, 58 medals overall, 27 gold. Great Britain had 65 medals with 22 gold. The ROC had 71 medals with 20 gold. China in 2nd place with 88 medals overall with 38 gold. And the United States of America coming in 1st place, because that's how we do. Woo. Birds of prey, 113 total and 39 gold. So Ty.
Wow. We are almost 2 minutes in. Thanks for having me on the show, Eric.
Fast and furious, babe. That's how we're doing it today.
I don't know if you can tell, but Eric is very excited for this episode. He's super stoked on this. It is his absolute favorite. And why shouldn't it be? Why not? It's fantasy football. It's funny. You get to be more involved in the sport. You get more skin in the game. It should be enjoyable. So if you yourself ever play fantasy, this is a good episode. You get some valuable information, I would say. And in fact, just precursor, spoiler, whatever Eric does, don't do it.
That is not true. Don't listen to Ty.
All right. I, on the other hand, have not been paying attention to NFL nearly as closely as Eric. So I'm not. Honestly, I ask questions to Eric all the time and just see, hey, who's going on? What's going on here? Who's throwing here? And I mean, so much has happened in the last few months. So good information coming your way. If you are in the fantasy game, this is the episode for you. So without delay, why don't we jump in it? We got a 10-team set up PPR.
Exactly.
All right,
we need a precursor. Right? So 10-team PPR. We did a random draft assignment at the beginning. Ty actually got the first spot in the draft. I got the 7th. So we're drafting at very different points here. So realistically, Ty and I won't be,
and honestly, I think we kind of glossed over the fact how this episode's going to run. We're just doing a mock draft. We've done this now for the last few years. Yeah. Good episodes, fun to do, and we're going to complete the entire mock all the way through. How many spots? How many rounds?
So we're doing a 10-team PPR. We're not drafting kickers. We're not drafting defense. That's not important to what we're trying to accomplish here.
But how many rounds?
It looks like a total of 12 rounds. 12. So we're doing 12 rounds. 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 complete flex of a wide receiver, running back, tight end, and then 5 bench spots.
Let's do it.
So that's how we're going. Ty, you are starting off the draft.
So unlike last year, we tried to pick some of those more challenging spots, like the 3 spot. Oh, they're number 1 pick is going to be a little tricky. You know who's going to be off the table, so what do you look for? And then I think you drafted 11.
11.
That's a really tough spot as well. Exactly.
Yeah. Close to the turn is
we're just bumping things up a little bit and giving a little bit of foresight on what to expect on those projections for this year across all kind of league formats.
Yeah.
So because I have a little bit of time, the clock has started. Eric, is there a case for someone in my position, number 1, not to take Christian McCaffrey in the first spot?
Yeah, I think there's a case, but there's a case for one individual, and it's Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
That's the only other individual I would consider. Both of them have, Christian McCaffrey until last year has been very good healthy, but he is coming off the injury. Dalvin Cook has really proven that he can be a true 3-down back. He gets a ton of the work. Minnesota is a very run first heavy team, despite the fact of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen is their wide receivers. There can be a case made. So if you are scared of Christian McCaffrey and coming off the injury where he played only 3 games last year,
if
you got
some
burned,
people had a little,
like I did, I got burned by Christian McCaffrey last year.
Right.
So those people that got burned by him that somehow are also the number 1 pick again, maybe they don't want to take that chance.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make it easy for all of us. I'm going Christian McCaffrey because I think
and chill.
98% of all leagues. That's
even as someone that got burned by him last year. It's CMC and chill.
All right. Cook, Taylor, Henry, Kamara, and Saquon Barkley are all the next running backs to go. And of course, as kind of per tradition, I mean, you're just going to see that bunch of running backs are going down the line into Eric's spot.
So just to clear things up, at this point in time, I don't like Jonathan Taylor going 3rd. I think that's a little ridiculous. Their number 1, the number 1 offensive lineman in football went down for the Colts.
Taylor had a decent year last year, but there were some moments too where
Wentz is gone.
Okay.
For 5 to 12 weeks. I can't think of his name, but number 1 rated offensive line by Pro Football Talk just went down with the same injury that Carson Wentz went down, 5 to 12 weeks. You can't draft Jonathan Taylor 3rd. You just can't. That's what this draft did. It hasn't caught up because it's a mock draft computers, but just some of these things to kind of keep in mind. And then also, as I am sitting here on the clock, you don't win your draft or you don't win your fantasy league at the draft. You still have to play. You can't manage your team just based off of what you did at the draft. So please keep that in mind. You set your foundation here, but moving forward, what you need to do is manage the team, make the right calls, and make the right transactions with your fellow league mates. So, as Ty mentioned, CMC, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley in a full PPR. And I am on the clock. So this is really where I would potentially consider the number 1 wide receiver.
Wide receiver?
I would consider
for Hill?
the number. Because Devontae Adams has Aaron Rodgers. Again, this hasn't completely caught up with the entire news because that's kind of how some of the times these things work. Devontae Adams is still the number 1 wide receiver in my opinion. He gets targeted too much. He gets targeted in the end zone all the time. But I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going to do something I don't typically do, and I have very much advised against in the past. I'm taking Zeus.
Okay.
I'm going to try.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's a lot of
strategy out.
Yeah.
There really is such a difference maker at the top 3 with Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle.
Yeah, you definitely have a strong opinion toward tight ends, especially in the current league, the way it's been structured for the last 2 or so seasons. There's just a wide divide on who's the, I guess, elite tight end, who's going to be productive for you on your fantasy team, and then just, you gotta have a tight end because that's the rule.
And at the one-off spots, I typically have always been someone that drafts them a little bit late. I punt those positions. I want to see what my draft looks like at this point. This is what mock drafts are for. I was in Ty's ears. He was doing a mock draft. He got really mad at me pre-episode.
You would not let up. It's pretend. All right, it's pretend.
You got mad at me.
It's a sandbox. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Etch a sketch it.
And that's the thing.
Do it, and you can do it again.
Yeah, I forget this.
There's nothing wrong with it being a little laboratory experiment.
Yeah, I get so excited.
You don't get to keep the players. It's a mock.
Yeah,
all right.
That's what it is. So I drafted Travis Kelce next off the board, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Nick Chubb, Zeke, Stephon Diggs, and Aaron Jones. Now I'm on the clock. This is a PPR league. This is a smash hit for me. There is not a question in my book who I'm taking of every single player on the board.
Who is it?
My favorite running back is on the board.
Who?
In Mixon, but I'm not drafting him. Here.
Okay.
We all know I love Mixon.
You love yourself some Joe.
But this player went from a team that had one of the worst offensive lines to one of the best. He has an up-and-coming superstar as a quarterback. He has an elite wide receiver out there. Mm-hmm. It is Austin Eckler. This is projected to be a great offense. He is a PPR machine. It's Austin Eckler. This is a smash hit for me here in the second round.
Out of L.A. I think that, I don't disapprove. I wouldn't necessarily disagree because, honestly, there is enough talent still at that level when you've seen Hill, Adams, and Diggs go for wide receivers that there were some quality running backs still to choose.
Yeah. When you think about the quality running back and the quality wide receivers, it's all about opportunity cost.
Yeah.
and what those running backs look like in round 5, 6, 7, 8 versus what wide receivers look like at 5, 6,
All right,
7,
let's
8.
pay attention to me real quick, because Eric, I need to hear some advice. I think anyone else needs some advice, because this is that turn of the draft. At the one spot, I have 2 turns in a row. I don't sacrifice anything.
Yeah, you got the long
now.
wait.
I got the long wait, but I get 2 picks right now.
Yeah.
I know Patrick Mahomes is not going to be there by the time I get into round 3. So do I just go ahead and take him? Is that what I want to base a number of my points on? Looking at anyone else who's around, there's a couple of quality wide receivers, of course, based on projections, looking like Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson, George Kittle as a tight end, if I'm looking at your approach.
Yeah.
Honestly, where I am, because of the talent I have to choose from, I think right now tight end is going to come into my team later in later rounds.
Okay, so you're punting tight end.
Yeah.
You're not going after one of the big 3, Waller,
I don't think
Kittle,
so.
or obviously Kelsey.
I think there's too much available and too much that I can take and add on to my running back core.
Yeah, so if you choose not to get one of the big 3 tight ends this year, the advice is punt the position, and you have to stream it. Don't go after some mid-round tight ends that are going to potentially finish maybe 30 points better in spot 5 at the overall 5 tight end versus the overall 12. Mm-hmm. That's how close these tight ends are. But the opportunity cost lost of drafting a Hawkinson in the 5th or 6th. Yeah.
I also know I have to think about, if I don't take a running back right now, I don't have a running back until the 4th and 5th round, and you know that's scary.
That's
for me,
graveyard.
I'm
running back
slim
graveyard.
picking, so I am definitely all in on running back to start. That's where my focus is.
If you're at the one spot, you have to go running back.
So some options. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a good season, knowing that, and this won't always be the case in your league. I would not be surprised somewhere in the 2nd round that Patrick Mahomes has already gone. I think that often will happen in a lot of leagues. Whether you agree or not,
he will be gone, but he's not my number 1 quarterback.
Right. So with that in mind as well, do I look at, there's other quarterbacks. So I like where I was actually earlier on. I did a mock draft today, and I like Clyde Edwards. And I'm going to stack the deck on some running backs. So I also have Antonio Gibbs, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Chris Carson. There's kind of a bounty
There's
there.
a lot to choose from there, but I think there's 2 options that are better than most and one that's even superior to the others.
I'm going on Antonio Gibson.
It's Antonio Gibson.
There we
100%.
go. So
it's Antonio Gibson.
I'm feeling pretty good about going. This is more of an Eric strategy, by the way.
It is.
Get those running backs in there. But if you have a running back flex, why not?
Which we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we do. It becomes even more valuable. So, Antonio Gibson, Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes, Darren Waller, George Kittle. There go the tight ends.
There they go.
And I am back on the clock at the 3:07.
Remember, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 wide receivers. There are how many teams, Eric?
It's a 10-team. 8
No.
wide receivers.
How many teams in the NFL?
Oh, 32.
32. How many teams have quality wide receivers for your team?
All of them at least have one quality wide receiver. Now, do you want them for fantasy, quote unquote?
Right.
Maybe not, because the offense just isn't there. But there are teams that have 3 options.
Yeah. My point is, you have about 60 people in wide receivers.
There's a lot
Do
more
not
wide
get
receivers.
stressed out if people are going.
Don't stress
wide
about it.
Yeah. You got a lot of wide receivers to pick from.
And my answer here is pretty simple. I am going to go running back here because I love the wide receivers that are here, but I'm willing to wait. I have a short turn here. I have 6 spots in front of me after I pick here. I'm going to go ahead and lock up my running backs here. I'm going to go ahead and take someone that's been falling down draft boards that was a first-round pick last year because they brought in a running back into Arizona or from Arizona into Las Vegas. I am very happy actually buying some of the dip. I'm going to go ahead and take Josh Jacobs here at the 307.
Nice. And it's going to turn around. Who came off the board electronically?
Keenan Allen, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, Mike Evans also came off at the back of the start of the 4th. Allen Robinson, Miles Sanders. So now I'm back on the board at the 404. And I have Travis Kelce, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs. I'm pretty happy with that start. Josh Jacobs, I'm not overly 100%
confident
No?
in. But
You feel a little weird?
I feel a little weird, but I love